Hello guys, we're sitting together with Byron, and Byron is the founder and the main guy behind the Black Armor guns. Now Byron, first of all, can you describe us with greater details how that idea came to light, and what was the idea behind the creation of the Black Armor guns?
Well, for Black Armor Guns itself, I was sitting at home, and my son calls me, who works at U.S. Army Marksmanship unit. He calls me and said, "Hey, Dad, let's build rifles." And I was like, "Oh, we build rifles all the time." He's like, "No, I want to sell rifles." And I was like, "Okay." And so, being dumb, I didn't know the whole process of. I knew how to build guns. Didn't know the process I had to go through to be able to sell guns. So,
but at least you had a plan.
We had a plan, right? So I went into it, got the FFL required to manufacture and sell guns, and then went into insurance and all that, which is a whole nother thing, right? And then once we did that, we had to come up with a lineup of guns, and I slept on it for a minute, and I thought of, we need some type of a gun that is practical, right? So I actually called my friend Emery at Prime Combat Training, and he and I discussed it, and I had already come up with the name, but he and I talked about what the gun requires, what it needs to have on it, and still be a premium type gun, not just a well gun that you get off of the average, shelf at a gun store.
And we both know Emery very well, so he likes to break stuff. And if this gun survives in Emery's hands, that means they're very, very durable.
Very much so. This is actually Emery's gun right here, this one here. And he drives this thing like a beast, like he's a NASCAR driver. He bumps into everything with this thing. And he told me, I think a week ago, he still has not had a malfunction with his gun, as much as he shoots it. We have induced malfunctions on it just so he could learn, we could go through the parts on how to clear malfunctions with certain parts and all that. And he and I did some research on it, but that's pretty much how we developed the door kicker, which is our flagship gun.
So about the door kicker, again, that's your flagman. It's kind of a signature series for the Black Armor guns. Now, what was the intent behind that particular gun, that particular model, that particular setup?
Yes, I was in a unit in 5th Special Forces Group, A-15, and our mission was to kick doors. In layman's terms, it was to kick doors. And I was in that unit for a long time, and I was able to figure out what I wanted in this gun, eerily similar to what I used there. Well, once I called Emery, he was very excited about it, and he was like, "Well, it needs this, it doesn't need that," and of course, I had to add stuff that he didn't know about. I can
guess one thing: cleaning guns, it's kind of not his gig.
Right.
So my guess is that gun's supposed to function extremely dirty as well.
Correct, and as a matter of fact, during the R&D process of us building this gun, which Emery was part of that R&D process, he was the R&D process for this gun. And I think he shot 1,800 to 2,000 rounds without lubing it or cleaning it. And I think started to get a little slow on him, and then we gave it a quick wipe off, and it was running like its own machine since. So it has to shoot every time. Regardless of how dirty it is.
A little bit about the actual specifications of the gun.
I get my lowers and uppers made for me from other companies, and they are billet. I'm a fan of billet over forged because I think it looks cleaner. It is stronger, in my opinion. A lot of the gear is gear that we had on our guns when we were, in Iraq and Afghanistan. The butt stock that we get from Magpul is the one with the stores of batteries in it and such. Also, dual safety or ambidextrous safety is key, because you never know if you have to use the other hand to operate the safety part of it. The accuracy, though, is paramount with this gun. I do certain things to the upper and to the barrel extension to give us consistent accuracy all the time. We during the R&D process, we put this in a vise, and the vise. All we do is we make sure we're on paper at 100 yards at a vise. We just pull the trigger 3 times without looking through a scope, and we're getting 3/4 MOA out of it on paper.
Okay, that's impressive.
Yes,
that is
the
impressive.
Barrel manufacturer, they claim that, and we shot Frontier Hornady 68 grain out of it, and it runs just fine. That's ammo. We can just get it in any gun store like Tennessee Gun Country. The rail system had to be the length that we wanted. Emory insisted on a combat trigger, so we did go with the ALG Advanced Combat Trigger. We didn't want some competition trigger, which is for something else. We went with the combat trigger, and it shoots really smooth for that type of trigger.
And if somebody's really picky about how heavy the trigger is and doesn't like the trigger for one reason or another, dropping triggers also can be
absolutely
implemented inside without a problem. So now the door kicker, that's pretty catchy name.
Yeah.
Right?
So I was a door kicker for a minute when I was in my former career,
and that's kind of my secondary question. Again, the main idea is based on your background. The intent, again, is to be a operator gun. That means a very reliable gun that will operate and will get the job done at any time.
And every time. Absolutely.
Early on, we played with Imri on the range, and I shot that gun. And by the way, actually, I achieved one of my highest score on TPC 24 and 15 yards. And I was very impressed about how repeatable the gun actually behaved. So it's very, very easy and very predictable recoil, and just the behavior of the gun and how consistently it ejects the rounds as well. What was really, really, really impressive. Now that's one of the things that you focus on. Also, you observe the ejection process of the empty cases.
Correct.
Tell me why.
Well, that means that we're getting, like you said, repeatability, and it has to come out at the same time. And I found that mid-length gas system, I like that casing to come out about 4 o'clock, 4:30, somewhere around in there. With a can on it, it comes out about 3, right? But at 4:30, I feel that seems about right. I couldn't do a whole lot about that except mess with the buffer system on that and all that. But otherwise, it works every time, the same spot, and it's repeatable. You can lay that brass in a stack, one on top of the other.
Yeah, the gun is really, really, really amazing. It's really good to hold it on the hands. It's a simple setup. It's a very ergonomic setup, and in my opinion, that's what we need in general. Simple, light, low diameter, very small diameter handguard, which I really, really like. And it's just, you can trust the gun 100%, super accurate. I was very impressed about how you deliver additional data about each particular gun to the customer, including all the testing process, right?
Yes.
And video material about actually how the gun have been built.
Right, so we, during the building process, we take photos, videos, and so on for that specific client, that exact client. During the little barrel testing part I was talking about earlier, we cut that out, write it down. We also video that whole process so they could see that it is actually their gun doing that, and we mentioned in a minute. And all that goes onto a little USB drive that we put on there. We found it was cheaper to put the manuals and everything else on a USB drive than it was to actually print a manual. So I might as well put video on there for them, media, right? So they get all that information with their gun and their case, the whole 9 yards. So they're not guessing, was this my gun when they fired at it? It was their gun when they did it.
What about the length of the barrel? I understood that you like the 16-inch.
Well, yes, because it's easier with our regulations today. Could I pin and weld? Yes, but once you pin and weld a muzzle device on the end of it, you're kind of committed to a few things. So we decided to deliver this gun with just a bird cage on it. It's more of a high-speed thread protector because everybody likes their own muzzle brake, like their own beer, except Bud Light. their own muzzle device, and they can put that on as they wish. We do put this on for them just as a threat detector.
Okay, basically it's up to the preferences of the customer. That's a easy change if they need something
Yes.
fancier. Regardless if they want they prefer some kind of a compensator or a muzzle a flash hider device or whatever they want,
Mhm.
right?
That's right.
So basically it's an issue. It's a core setup, and everything else it's up to the customer. But the main focus of the gun is to be super reliable and actually really a performance that you can trust anytime, all the time.
Right.
Right.
We do Cerakoting.
Mhm.
C3 Customs in Clarksville, Tennessee does our Cerakoting for us. He has seen my vision, you know, when we have a couple of colors we call Bag Dark Earth, Black Armor Guns Dark Earth, which is a little different.
So you developed that.
Right, yeah, and he won't put it on any gun except one of mine.
So it's a signature color.
Yep.
For
And-
Black Armor guns.
And Green Dragon, which is another greenish type color that is monitored after where the Sons of Liberty met in Boston, the tavern, Green Dragon Tavern. And the parts that are supposed to be Cerakoted Bag Dark Earth or that color, any part that is black, any controls, you know, takedown pins or anything like that, are Cerakoted all the same color, everything's the same color. So you're not getting parts that are, some are nitride color and some are Cerakoted the same, you know, black, and they're close but not quite. The gun will be right, and it'll look like a premium gun because it is a premium gun. I don't want to just ship a premium gun to them. They can look at it and go, "What's this?" So we put a lot of work into making sure that gun looks just as good as it works.
So aesthetics also matters.
Absolutely, they
Not
do
only
matter.
performance, right?
They do matter. They really do.
What about the boat carrier group? And do you have any preferences about the specific boats, or what is your opinion? What is the most important in a rifle? What makes the rifle really a rifle that you can trust?
So the bolt carrier group was probably the most important thing. I went to a couple of companies to get that right. We do put our logo on it, and besides the bolt carrier group would be accuracy. So what I do to the barrel extension and the front of I do lap the upper to make sure everything is square on this gun. Some folks don't believe in that. I do believe in it. You know, it doesn't hurt to do it right off the bat, and every gun gets that care. So that's the two things that I was most focused on with this gun.
As I know, you spend a lot of time actually experimenting with the different parts, different manufacturers, until you finally get to that final package that actually guarantees that reliable performance.
Yes, I do have a lot of money into R&D process,
Yeah.
and I would get a part from a distributor going, "Oh, I like that part, you know, it's nice and shiny," and then I would take the Emery, and Emery would look at it, and he'd drive it for, you know, a magazine worth, and then we'd toss it in a pile because it didn't work. So we have a large pile of parts that did not work for us or what we wanted it to do. So that was the hardest process of this rifle.
So, guys, if you really want an AR-15 platform that really will work anytime, door kicker, that's the first choice. Start position, you'll be loaded with round in the chamber, safety is engaged. Now, the very top of your optics or your sight will touch the very base of the target over there. Basically, the base of your target stance.
Of the target stand on
On
the
the
ground.
target stance.
Shooter ready. Stand by.
Keep that triangle rigid. That's what we need. Right.
I'm ready.
All right, I'm ready. Stand by. Stand by.
round 3, 2.
Now, what's next? What's next with Black Armor?
What's next is my son works at the Army Marksmanship unit down at Fort Benning, and he had a concept for a gun called the Champion, which replicates the gun he uses in all his shooting companies, the 3-gun.
3-gun, that's his specialty, right?
Yes. So the parts on it replicate that. He came with a laundry list of, Dad, this gun has to be put together this way with these parts and all that. I was like, okay, so that is what's next on the horizon, real close horizon actually, to build the Champion and get it out and test it also.
So not only the combat, the tactical market, but also the competitive guys will be satisfied by the production. Can we expect that gun will be really as reliable as the door kicker?
Well, my son made sure that it was because of the parts and manufacturing process of his gun down at AMU. So I firmly believe that it will be, but again, that's part of the R&D process that we have to go through to make sure that is just as reliable. And to be honest, some people can compete with this, or anybody can compete with the door kicker if they wanted to, just as well.
Very accurate gun, so that's what is really important.
So that's exactly right. And the Champion, though, is quite a bit more of a process than this. The door kicker can get the job done. It really could.
Again, 16-inch barrel.
No, 18-inch barrel on the Champion.
Okay.
Yes, 18-inch. AR gold trigger, that kind of stuff. You know, the typical
competition
setup.
Yeah, high performance setup.
Yes, absolutely.
When you're talking about competition, I ask you that question because most of the competition guns they're very refined, but that kind of reduce how reliable they can perform. Right? You have a great performance when you're talking about speed and accuracy, but sometimes they can cause some malfunctions.
That's a fact, especially in the trigger and bolt area, right? Both of those areas right there. So we all know the guys down at AMU, they win everything, right? So if they're not, they're in the top 5 of these competitions in every class. And so they have given me some advice, not just Houston, but a few others have given me some advice on that rifle, the Champion. And I'm going to take it to heart. You know, they're the experts, not me at that part. You know, I can build rifles, but they're giving me their feedback. I'd be stupid not to take it.
What length gas system you use on that one, and what gas length system you use in the Champion?
Both of them are mid-length.
Like you like the mid-length?
Yes, there's a little softer recoil on it. You know, it's the same every time.
Yeah. About the bolt carrier group in the Champion, is it lightened or is it the same?
It's the JP Enterprises bolt carrier group. So yes, it's considerably lighter.
Lighter. Okay.
Considerably.
Because that's something that a lot of competitive shooters are actually asking for.
Yes.
Less mass. That will make the gun's recoil flatter.
And just sits there.
Yeah. Do you use adjustable gas block or?
Yes. My son made sure that it was adjustable also. It's got a little rod you put down there to turn it and to get it where you got it to go. So, yeah, pretty much everything you see on I'll say a badass competition gun is what I had to put on that. But there are some other processes that he and the boys at AMU advised me. They don't shoot my guns, in no way, shape, or form do they shoot my guns. They have their own that are built for them.
Yeah.
I just kind of cheated a little bit and said, hey, what are you guys using? And, and that was it.
That's you have the source.
Yeah.
The source when you're talking about performance, the source when you're talking about knowledge, what really works in competitive world, and you have all the source from what's supposed to work on the combat field, right?
Correct.
So again, the both spectrums are covered by Black Armor guns. All right, how people that are interested can order those guns?
Okay, so this is not complicated. It's actually quite easy. You visit blackarmorguns.com and look at our fancy website that I paid a lot of money for. And down at the bottom it'll say to order, contact us. You cannot order one of our guns online. You have to call me to order one of these guns. So we can go through the process. I can send you the order form after that. It is a very personable process. I do not want folks that wonder, when they're looking at, where am I sending my money to? They're going to talk to me, one human to another, and then we will go through that process together because they may want a different barrel than the 5.56 that I like to use. They may want 300 or something like that.
And that's pretty self-explanatory when you're talking about very high-end guns that are built with a laser-sharp focus.
Yes.
When you're talking about quality.
That's right.
Right.
As a matter of fact, built a gun 2 weeks ago for a gentleman that was Cerakoted. And I slipped up and nicked the Cerakote in a spot, right? And I was actually, we were filming that build also, and my cameraman goes, Byron, you got a nick. And I looked at it, and I sent the entire gun back to my Cerakote guy and had him redo the whole thing on my dime because I had one little small nick, and the customer didn't care. He's like, no, send it to me anyway. I wouldn't send it to him. I was like, nope, it'll be right before I send it to him.
Okay, but that's the idea, perfection.
Perfection, exactly.
Perfection. In any area, perfection. All right, so you mentioned your website. Now, the link will be actually attached on the description below, so check out the link. One more time, the website is?
blackarmorguns.com.
All right, pretty simple.
And then there's Tactical Performance Center. They have helped us out a lot. Thank you very much for with this gun. I know you have got to shoot it very little. You probably had about an hour's worth of time with it.
Yeah, but I accommodated just at the moment very first few shots. And again, guys, I told you a TPC 24, 15 yards.
Stand by.
The gun it just stays there, so right. It's so easy just to move the trigger finger, right?
And the trigger was the thing. You're like, well, I can get used to this really easy, as opposed to the triggers you're used to. You're like, well, I know it's a combat trigger, but I can get used to it.
Even if I'm spoiled a little bit, and I prefer a little bit lighter triggers. That was not a handicap at all.
And the proof was in the numbers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Targets, especially paper targets, doesn't lie, and the results doesn't lie.
That's right. And my buddy Emery at Prime Combat Training, he uses this rifle a lot. He's really adamant about certain things on his gun, and this gun accommodated that for him.
Yes, and actually, we make Emery to hit the target quite fast. He actually hit the target with this rifle.
What was that rating he got with this rifle?
Yeah, the TPC 24. It's 15 yards.
Yeah, did he get a rating? Is there a rating on that shot?
Oh, it was just right behind me, breathing in my neck, which is really good. Excellent.
So yeah, you can visit Emery at primecombattraining.com also, and all his everything he does with his training. His training really focuses on this stuff a lot. It's very good. And then a lot of help.
Really combat focus, yes.
And a lot of help from Tactical Rifleman. I've gone to Carl's house a lot, and he's given me some advice on this gun. Tacticalrifleman.com also, and their YouTube pages. They got a huge YouTube page.
People will find the link of Tactical Rifleman YouTube channel on the description below. Again, if you want tons of really great advices and gear review and everything from the perspective of combat veterans that know exactly what is necessary in order to survive in the field, that's the channel.
coming right there.
All right, you mentioned that you have the website, but what about the other social media? Do you have Instagram? Do you have a Facebook group? And what about the guys if they're interested more about the innovations and what's new, what's cooking in the kitchen of Black Armor guns?
Right.
Do they have an alternative sources of information, new videos, and etc. where they can find you in social media?
Yeah, so they can find us on Black Armor, anything Black Armor Guns, and TPC. As a matter of fact, we try to put out as much information or changes. We don't make any changes, to tell you the truth, but any innovation we have on the gun, we put that out on our website and on Instagram, so on and so forth.
So Facebook, Instagram, everything Black Armor.
Black Armor Guns on everything.
All right.
And to the TPC viewers, the only way you're going to get one of these guns is to call me to order it. Again, you will not be allowed to order one of these online. It's just not that way. I need to speak to you on the phone, and then we can communicate after that via email.
So if you want a cool and quality gear, you require a quality communications.
Absolutely.
In person.
Absolutely. You don't know, you've been to it. You've been online. You go, am I giving my money to a legit source? And it's not personable. You will have to talk to me about it.
And there are so many companies these days that are producing AR-15 platforms, right? But it's very picky and very tricky actually to find the proper gun that will not only will work, will perform.
Right. That's right.
All right. Tactical Performance Center recommends, if you want a real performance, check out Black Armor Guns on their website, blackarmorguns.com. Byron, thank you so much. It was a pleasure and honor.
Appreciate it.
And hope to play again with some surprises from Black Armor pretty soon.
That's right.